Do you have a spicy take that you'd like to stand on your soapbox for there, Adam?
Well, spicy takes are dangerous when it comes to me. My spicy take is this. It's really relevant. I don't know when this is going to air, but I think what I've seen in the last week in regards to, am I allowed to talk? I mean,
absolutely.
Charlie Kirk. Spicy take is if you, as a human being, and then take it down 1,000 feet as an American, think it's okay to celebrate somebody's death because they believe differently than you, then there is a special place in hell for you. That's as spicy as I like. I don't care if that's who that offends. There's some politicians out there that I absolutely detest in this country. I think they are evil. Just be honest. There's no way in a million years I would wish death upon them. So that's the first part of it. The second part is even more detestable than that is the way the media and people take things out of context to support an agenda. And what you're seeing, like in the aftermath of this atrocity that is his assassination, you're seeing them take sound bits, like we're doing right here, and showing half of it, and then trying to destroy a man's legacy and a reputation by only telling partial points or to serve an agenda. I challenge everybody on both sides, before you make an opinion, one of the most powerful things about the freedoms that we have in this country that are protected by the Second Amendment is your ability to make your own decision. And if you're going to make your own decision, don't let an Instagram thread tell you what you believe. Do your research. Do your research on everything, on both sides of the agenda. You're allowed to not agree on everything Republican or everything Democrat. You're allowed to be a libertarian. Hell, you're allowed to not vote if you don't want to. That's what makes this country great. But make your mind up on your own. And I think that is what it is right now. We're seeing an attack on people's minds right now. And that's how they're trying to shift the narrative. And the fact that they're trying to say, things about like, oh, Charlie said, there's an acceptable level of gun violence, and how ironic is it that he did? That's not what he said. What he said is, let's be real. There's never going to be zero gun violence in this country because there will always be bad guys with guns. And as long as there's bad guys with guns, to take the guns out of good guys' hands is irresponsible and unlogical. Use the full quote if you're going to try to attack this man post his life, posthumanist. So that's my spicy take right now is what's happening in the world today, and the catalyst that caused this is crazy.
I think Charlie put it best when he said that when we stop communicating and talking to each other, that's when violence starts. And to take those quotes, and as both of us are on multiple shows or on GOA, that's always a fear, is that someone's going to take your quote and use it against you. But listen to the full quote, listen to everything, and like you said, make up your own mind, because there's so much out there. And you said it earlier as well, is that we are such a goldfish brain, quick, instant gratification, dopamine hit. Don't go for the instant, go for the long term. Learn and educate yourself, and take the time to watch the full video or watch the full thing, or do research. Just take the time to do the research, because even a tweet is so many letters, an Instagram post is so much time. Don't take the 30 or 60 second soundbite. Go in and find the full thing and actually listen, and then have a conversation. Have a conversation.
It's okay to not agree.
Yeah.
It's okay. I guarantee you, if the three of us spent the rest of the day together, there's going to be at least one or two things we don't agree on. And that's okay. It's okay. It's okay not to want to own a gun in this country. It's okay. That is your right. But do the research, understand what it is, understand what an AR actually means, understand that it's not a 100-round magazine clip, understand, like, if you're going to talk responsible, talk informed, or be willing, if somebody's going to correct you, to understand, process, and then digest that information. And that's back to Sam. That's what Sam did so well. Sam was so knowledgeable, so passionate, but he always did it approachable. And he would let somebody argue with him, and then he would give his thoughts on it and usually back it up with facts and data. And then at the end of the day, if you don't agree, that's okay. But at least you were human enough and American enough to sit there and have a civil conversation. We got to get back to that.
No, I couldn't agree. Long gone are the days where we used to, it was, I don't agree with you, you don't agree with me, but we're still friends, let's have a beer. Now it's, you said something on Facebook, I don't like that, we're no longer friends. Canceled completely. And we need to get back to that. And I also want to touch on a point where it wasn't just 5 years ago or 6 years ago that we went through the largest shift in gun ownership in a very long time. And we went from the shift from I don't want a gun or I don't need a gun. Oh, wait, well, I need something to protect myself.
You're calling your neighbor that all of a sudden was the gun guy in the neighborhood. What should I get, right? Yeah.
And we saw this shift, and then it kind of plateaued. And then, as any spike does with the industry went down. But it seemed nobody learned anything from that.
Well said.
It just, we went from people going, well, I need to take this into my own hands, and now, well, guns are bad again. Well, then what changed your mind from 2020 to 22?
Well said.
And
I think it is, unless it's directly in their face, unless that imminent danger is outside their door, then it's the whole mindset of this doesn't affect me directly. And what people need to understand is it's better to have it and never need it than need it
and not have it.
And that's the reality. This isn't a power play. This isn't an intent to commit evil. This is the great equalizer. I mean, that's what it is, you and I get into an argument. Unfortunately, my size helps me to physically potentially overpower you and control the situation. What that does is the reality of the damage that I can cause, hopefully squashes the conflict, and it never comes to that. But if it is, and I'm intent on doing something, this gives you a chance to defend yourself. And that's been from ages. That was swords. That was everything. Like, there's always got to be something that is the great equalizer. And we've come to a point where we realize that a firearm is just that. And I don't think anybody should be ashamed of that or scared of that. It's a mentality. It's a mental thing. And I'd say 99.9999999% of gun owners in this country, especially legal gun owners, are good, honest, God-fearing people. Whoever their God is and whatever, honestly, and I'm okay with that. That's what makes this country great. It's that segment of mental instability that people focus on to try to take away a right, an inalienable right from the rest. And we got to continue to fight for that.
Yeah. The biggest, and I think the scariest thing is, we just witnessed, what was it, 3 weeks ago, when a almost vice president, current Senator Tim Kaine, gets on the Senate and says that, oh, no, there are no such thing as inalienable rights. Your rights come from the government. We decide what rights you have. And if someone who thinks like that has the ability to convey that on the Senate floor in Senate records, and there's no back and forth conversation of, hey, you may need to go back to, 8th grade civics class, or you may need to, just, I don't know, read the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence or the Federalist Papers or literally any founding father.
Anything that this country was founded on as a whole. Yeah.
It's pretty easy for you to find the information. But when ideology rewrites history, when it changes the narrative to a point where you're listening to somebody's remarks in the Senate floor and you're sitting there going, am I living in 1984? Is there a ministry of truth just changing stuff behind closed doors?
It's treasonous
Like,
almost. I mean, it really is.
It really is. It gets to that point. And it's vital that when people come into our fold that may disagree with us, that may have a revisionist history, that we educate them in a way and we push back and demand that the facts come to light, that there's sunlight that disinfects all of the craziness that is happening. That's how we preserve the Constitution. That's how we preserve our rights.
Yeah.
If you look at so much of our court cases are founded on the text, history, and tradition. When we're looking from a Second Amendment preservation standpoint, we can't let comments like that go unanswered. We have to insist on the education being correct, because anybody can reinvent something, but we stand on principle.